What is going on, everybody? Good morning, good night, good evening. Hope you're having a great day. Hopefully today we're gonna have a great day as well. It's been a while since I posted a video. New camera, not really. It's like a year old. I just haven't posted in like a year. So, there's that. New house. Obviously this isn't my usual background. I didn't have blue doors before. I had gray doors before. And we got some stuff we gotta get done today. You'll see a little bit of the house. You'll probably never see the inside of this house. At least not much of the inside. And that's just because that's where I live, my family lives, and we're going to keep that sacred. But the outside, whole other ballgame. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff outside on video. Starting with, this is my laundry room. There's a door inside that connects. You don't have to walk outside, thankfully. But that's also where the freezer is, and the garage fridge, the beer fridge, whatever you want to call it. That is in, just general storage. And today we're going to be moving my toolbox into that. But let me show you what we have to do in order to accomplish that. Starting off, we have an Impala sitting here in my way, so that's going to get moved. We're working on it, so I got some fluids and such down here. And then way back there, there's a trailer. We gotta get back there, get that trailer. Then off over here, you'll see it in a minute. There is there we go. There's a storage shed, and that's where my toolbox is. And I'm going to be using the trailer, because my toolbox is full-ish, and I don't feel like carrying it that far. And I can't roll it because it's all dirt. And first we gotta get this Impala moved. So, okay. This is Amanda's dad's car. It is a flipper that basically I'm just doing the work for. So, today we gotta change the power steering pump on it. He seems to think that it's leaking. I just determined that it is, in fact, not leaking. And I don't think it's leaking from a line either, because the level is exactly where I put it the other night. However, I will say when I was messing with it, it had some nasty air bubbles, and it wouldn't take fluid properly. I think the pump is clogged and there's something going on with it, where it's just not flowing right. So we're going to change the pump. It's bad. It's clearly a bad pump. It works, but it's not happy about it. It's going to fail soon. And nobody wants to hear that when they're looking to buy a car. So that's the first thing we got to fix on this car. A couple other things. Today it's just going to be the fuel pump, and then there's an AC module, AC actuator, sorry, that has to get fixed. I have the actuators. I know where this one is. I just got to get to it and move it, or remove it. And then and then this will basically be done for today. Oh, it did it. That clicking, that's the actuator that's bad, that I have to replace. I'm moving all these screws that I had from working on locating that module. See if it'll start. Oh no, she dead. Alright. That's interesting. I say that's interesting because it had been sitting there for almost a week before that. The battery was fine, but now it's not. It's only been a few days. One of the many things that is new is my career. I am now actually a mechanic, not just some guy on YouTube who kind of fixes stuff. I actually get paid to do it now. most of the time. So I brought some tools home. Because again, toolbox was super far. Didn't know what exactly did not have. Jump box though. Jump box generally lives in the car. I don't take it into work. I have a coworker who's got a better jump box that works, well, better. And I use his. Alright, well, we're running. You can really hear that power steering pump. It's just begging. Whoa, we zoomed in. There we go. Begging for mercy here. Come on. Move backwards. There you go. Good car. I have the lid on the power steering pump. Now, there are happy trails in my driveway from where I'm assuming it was the power steering pump that was leaking. Had leaked prior. So we'll see if it leaks this time. That sounds horrible. About there's good. Try that again. Turn the car off. Let's take a look and see what's leaking. Alright, so I just found some trails from that car on the ground that are wet. It is oil, not power steering fluid. And they're pretty significant, like, I moved this car, what, 5 feet, 10 feet? That means I gotta figure out where it's leaking oil and why it's leaking so bad. Alright. Truck and trailer's there. Toolbox is there. Toolbox needs to go there. Actually, what I need to do first, tighten those lug nuts. I'm pretty sure these are all finger loose. Alright, and also, the stuff on the trailer right now, other than the bike pump, is all trash, so I don't really care where that goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys down so you can just watch me struggle. That's the light box. Alright, that's as far as I care to put it right now. I'm tired. It is hot. It was chilly. And then I started doing stuff. And now I'm not chilly no more. Now I guess we gotta fix a Impala. I was just thinking I may have forgotten a very important tool. And if I did, ain't nothing getting done today. Stay. Okay, now you stay. I totally did. I forgot my long flex head ratchet. So now that I'm essentially just waiting, this right here where all this crap is where I want my toolbox to go. Kind of working on like a wiring solution so that I power throughout everything, because I'll put my little power tool drawer thing right above it, but we only have one outlet out here. They're in here. We obviously have a fridge and a freezer to power, and all the other power tools and stuff, and then there's no outlets outside, so there's an extension cord running outside. Hang on. Amanda messes with the wiring. What does she do? So this is powering the fridge. Oh, hey, wait, that's a solution. So my wife fixed it. Okay, well, wiring's fixed. Gotta make it look prettier, but that's not a concern of mine at the moment. Alright, well, it is the next morning, and I am exhausted. But a lot of things kind of ended up happening yesterday, and I just never picked up the camera. A lot of things kind of happened yesterday. And there's a Jeep back here that I was hiding from you guys. So let's start with the Impala. So the Impala, I did go to my work and pick up the ratchet and some other tools that I thought I would need, and I haven't really used those ones yet. I don't think. Definitely used the ratchet. I came back and kind of started looking at stuff, and I realized that this thing has a really, really bad oil leak. Like, I saw that it was leaking oil as I was moving it. The bottom of it's covered in oil, but I thought maybe that was just residual oil and some of it may be leaking out, or, you know, just falling out or whatever. I know it's a very bad leak. It looks like it's coming from the oil pressure sensor. For this to make sense, I gotta back up a little bit. So I realize it's leaking oil real bad. Realize where it's coming from, so we call him, like, hey man, you're leaking oil, whatever. He comes over, and he was coming over yesterday anyway. He just ended up coming over a little bit earlier than originally planned, which is fine. We weren't doing anything, and generally speaking, the sooner people come over, the sooner people leave. It wasn't the case last night. Spoiler. Yeah. But, you know, I showed him the leak. He's like, yep, sure, shit, leaking oil. You know, what is it? So I told him. So he's like, alright, well, let's go get a new one. Alright, cool. Let's pull this first. You know, this one out first. Well, that one requires a 27mm socket, according to the internets. I didn't have a 27mm socket, especially not here. I don't hardly have normal size sockets here. So we went to Harbor Freight, and I'd actually gone to Harbor Freight 15 minutes before I called him to get that creeper. So we go back and we get the big Harbor Freight socket set. The Pittsburgh half-inch set. And I didn't know at the time, but the polished ones are 12 points. And that doesn't appear that it's going to work on this car. The way the sensor is, it's not like a nut. It's more rounded than anything. The 27 fits over it, kind of grips it, but doesn't do enough to pull it off. It'll just slide around. It's almost as if it's a 26 mil, which it might be. I don't know though, and it's very hard to see in there because you can barely see it at all to figure out what it actually is. So we get that changed, or we get the oil changed. I get the power steering pump changed. There is an easy actuator that I got unplugged so it wasn't making noise. Put a new battery in it. And that's about it. Was out until about 11:30 with them. So basically all day. And a lot of that was just shooting the shit, which is fine. But I am exhausted because I spent all day out here working on cars for the most part. So today's gonna be a little slow. Also, behind the scenes, I've been working on this Jeep. Let's talk about the Jeep. This is a Jeep that some of you older watchers may actually recognize, because this is Karen. For you who may have forgotten, or you newer viewers, Karen is a Jeep that Amanda bought back in the COVID days. I went with her to buy it. I scanned it. Everything looked good. Buy it. We test drive it. Everything. We buy it. We don't get out of the parking lot, and it pops up with some check engine lights. And those two lights that it popped up with are still on this truck today. Now, during COVID, there was a shortage for everything. Everything was more expensive. Everything was harder to get. So we worked on it the best we could, tried to kind of doctor these repairs, and it ended up never really happening. She got tired of it and sold it to her dad. So her dad buys the Jeep, and her dad's convinced that it needs a head gasket. He starts tearing it apart, doesn't ever really finish it. I end up helping him and finishing the head gasket issue, which wasn't really an issue, but we put new heads on it, rebuilt, basically from the top down, with new gaskets and such. Cleaned everything up real good. We get back together and it doesn't want to start. It'll run off of ether and brake clean and starting fluid and stuff, but it won't run by itself. So clearly it's a fuel issue. He doesn't want to deal with it, so he sells it to my dad for my brother. My dad, picks it up Christmas Eve in the rain and brings it home, and 15 minutes later it's running just fine. There was a fuel line down along the firewall that had gotten pinched that none of us ever found because this Jeep at the time was pretty much sitting on rocks and nobody wanted to crawl down and really inspect that, so that's all it was. And then I think he did some front end work on it and whatever. And after that, the Jeep is just sat. Not because it had any major issues, but because nothing ever happened to it. Well, fast forward to about now, and I have it again. And I fully intend to get it working. So the issue with the codes that I'm chasing from day one still are bad catalytic converter codes. I've got pretty much everything taken apart, and I realized that the threads awesome second gen. I realized that the threads on it are on the cat for one of the O2 sensors are just destroyed. So I gotta pull the whole cats out in order to tap them and fix them. In order to pull the cats out, I'm gonna have to cut an exhaust hanger because there's no way for it to come back enough for the hanger to disconnect and down with the front cross member. Now I have the center one that holds the transmission off. I have the actual muffler, so the part behind the cat not completely disconnected, but it's pretty much on the ground to get more room. I just still can't get anything out, so we're gonna have to cut an exhaust hanger. The problem with cutting an exhaust hanger is I don't have a Sawzall. I don't know where my big grinder is, so I was using a Dremel with a cutoff wheel. And I wasn't a fan of it because really the only way to get up in there and do that, if the blade breaks, it's gonna go in my face. So I tried for a little bit, wasn't feeling good about it, so I stopped. So, as a thank you from Amanda's dad, when we went and got the Harbor Freight sockets, which we have to go back today to exchange them, he bought me a Sawzall. Alright, well, got the Impala off the jacks, or jack stands, or whatever. I'm gonna clean up the engine bay a little bit so I can close the hood. Really, all I'm thinking about is just moving it up into the carport some more. That way it's just out of the way. But let's cut this exhaust down. Alright, she down. Didn't even use the bar battery. Check that out. Alright, so yeah, passenger side O2 sensor is up on the other side of the transmission dipstick, which means I'm probably gonna have to remove that dipstick tube or loosen it anyway in order to just even get up there. That looks fairly easy to do with the exhaust out of the way. Driver's side one looks like I might be able to get in through the fender well. There's a hole there, I don't have a fender liner there. And I may be able to get in there to get it into a better position. Both of these two require me to re-jack up the car because on the passenger side, the jack stands too far back. I gotta move it forward just so I have room to work. And then I'm gonna have to jack up the driver's side. So, I don't think I'm doing either of those today. I got it down, that's cool. I think I'm just gonna cut the wires as close to the sensors as possible to pull the exhaust out. And then with the exhaust out, I can figure all that stuff out and then figure everything else out. Alright, well I was able to get the cat out of the car. I was able to get the threads chased and then the defowlers put in for the rear. Now I just need two new sensors for the front and they can go back up. Not getting those today, gonna order those online. Did all that off camera because I was just kind of moving and doing pretty good. Got everything cleaned up, got all my tools, they go to work accounted for except for one, and that is my pocket pry bar. That one kind of irritates me because I use that more than a pocket screwdriver. I even dug through the trash to see if maybe I threw it away on accident. I'm not seeing it. So if I get a new one of those, unfortunately, I'll probably get two, one to stay here. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end off the video here. Sorry I didn't show everything. Just kind of got in the zone, just was working, trying to get stuff done. Haven't moved the car yet. Haven't got rid of any of that yet. Probably do all that later this evening after I've rested some, but I'm not gonna pick up the camera again today. So thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for coming back out. I'm gonna try to make these videos a little bit more frequent. And we'll see you in the next video.